My name is Dave Weiner. I'm a guitar player. Most people, know me from almost 20 years in Steve Vai's band. I'm a solo artist. I have a fusion trio named Visible at Night. We're playing here today at Experience PRS. I also own a guitar education website named Gitopia, which is, in my opinion, the best way to learn because it's video on demand, 24/7, whenever you're feeling like watching something, and you can rewatch. That's the great part about it. Great subscription site, yeah. It's really a great way to learn anything anymore because it's not, sitting there with a live person is always great, but again, yes, you get to rewatch as many times as you want, slow down, really just get what you're looking for at your pace, which is really great. And that's the thing that I think most people, especially as you get older, you just find little moments to do what you like doing, like play guitar, learn more about guitar, or whatever it is. And it's nice to have resources that offer that up and let you do it just in little moments when you can. Since '09, and before then, I really never did.
What did you play before?
Ibanez. And I started on Ibanez. My first Ibanez in '86 was basically a Strat copy, and I loved it because it was kind of like this. It was a single coil setup. It's a Strat copy, plain and simple. I think they got sued over it, the Ibanez lawsuit period or whatever it was. But it was a great guitar. And then the late '80s comes around with Vai and loud colors and all sorts of fun stuff, and just the visual of it kind of attracted me to more Ibanez guitars. But and nothing against Ibanez at all. I just personally didn't get along with them, but I kept playing them because then, well, first of all, I was really young when I got like an RG 550 when those came out. I didn't know really how to keep it set up well. Changing the strings, I never did because, you take a string off of a Floyd, nobody instructed me, the internet wasn't around. So maybe I didn't give it a fair chance, but it was just more of a pain than anything else. Then the 7-string came out, so I got another Ibanez, and and I had a great relationship with Ibanez. I still do. I just didn't. You get to a point where you're like, this isn't serving exactly my needs. And when you're a full-time player, you need to spend the time to figure that out. And over those years of figuring that out, I realized I like bigger necks for the most part. I don't like thin, flat radius necks, fretboards. And that started an exploration of what else is out there, various, and everything. I tried everything, and I think that's always a great thing. And then had the opportunity to come down here and meet with this crew, and so cool. Just the people are so cool. And then what was so cool is that they sent me home that day with 6 guitars, and I was like, okay, to try, because I said I wasn't familiar. I really wasn't familiar because PRSs were always, kind of out of reach growing up, of course, price-wise. But then, getting into Vai's band and getting an endorsement with Ibanez and such. It was a great time. You just evolve, But I never spent much time with the PRS growing up and into my professional career. So I said, I'm not too familiar. Let me borrow a bunch and see what works out. I gave them all back except for one, which was called the 513. It's a fantastic guitar. I think they now call it the 509. Is that right? This is a great guitar. And then over the years, we've done customs, some 7-strings and stuff. But it's the thing about even the new one, which today is the first day I'm ever playing it, and I'm having a great time playing it. Because you pick up a PRS guitar and it's got a familiarity to it in the sense that it's its own thing. Some people say, well, I don't know what I'm playing. I don't know if it's a Fender, and I'm not talking about this guitar, I'm talking about PRS. I don't know if it's a Fender or a Gibson. you know, obviously I think it would sway a little bit more towards the Gibson side, but I love the fact that it's right down the middle on a lot of levels. And once you kind of are aware of that, and then you appreciate the guitar for that, because sometimes the Gibson stuff is not really doing it, sometimes the Fender stuff is not really doing it. So PRS certainly, without even really trying, kind of went right down the middle and set themselves up with a really great instrument. That's one reason why I really love PRS, but the other reason is, you know, I've done clinics for PRS all over the world while I'm on tour, and sometimes the gear is going to the venue or something, and I'll go to the shop and just pull stuff off the wall, like this. And instantly have, again, that familiarity with it, and the high quality. You know, I know once a guitar's on a wall in a shop, it's kind of up to the shop to keep it where it is, but I've many times pulled it off the wall, out of the box, give it a quick tune, and right on stage with it. It's really fantastic. So there's that, and I've said this many times in interviews about PRS, the trust factor. Like when I know that when I pick up a PRS, it's such a great quality instrument, and for me, it just feels fantastic. You know, it's really just the upper echelon of all the components. And you sit down with Paul for just a minute, and you see where that comes from, because he is so fanatical, and his laser focus on, well, how can we make the nut better, and the tuners better, and the saddles, you know, and everything, you know, how can we make that all better? And that's a great thing. And honestly, I think it's the opposite of what people like look at as far as, you know, a good quality guitar is an old one. In my opinion, the PRSs, every year, they refine the newer ones as they keep coming out. The next one, they just keep getting better. You know, you know, again, I started with PRS in '09, so I have a bunch of guitars through 12, and then didn't do one for 13, 14, 15, or 16. I think that's right. And then we did 2 last year. And they all play great, but as I was saying, the newer ones just have more refinement to them, and they feel even better. They sound even better, you know. And that's that trust that, you know, like Paul is just he's so fanatical about all these details that it just keeps getting better. You know, you're just picking up a high quality instrument. So I love it. And again, everybody's different. You can't take somebody's word, you know, from a video or online reviews. Everybody needs to do the work, in my opinion, to really figure out what you like. And that means picking up various PRSs and every other brand, because I certainly did that, and I come back to PRS, and I think it stays in tune. I mean, when I'm on tour with Steve, you know, and Steve is playing his Ibanez's, and he beats the crap out of those guitars with the whammy bar, and I do the same thing. And I don't have locking nuts. I don't have a Floyd, you know, I have the standard, not this one, but, you know, the standard PRS trem. And I'm up there beating the crap out of it. Stays in tune, and yeah, it's nice to have that confidence in your instrument. I think that would probably infringe on some sort of trademark. You know, I do like scallop frets, but I've never done them on any of my guitars, you know, but I've picked up a few of Steve's that have been scalloped, and they have a fun feel to them. Some of them are very comfortable. Some of them I didn't like more, but yeah. No, I haven't done it. Maybe down the road. 6. I mean, if the song doesn't call for 7 or beyond, you know, with some of the newer guys, right? I go back to a 6, because why? Why deal with one more string and a larger neck, even though they're so well made and etc. But just, you know, just make it comfortable, make it easy. So if the song doesn't call for a 7, I am definitely on a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would the Dave Weiner signature model PRS look like?
Well, it's so funny because, you know, my guitars are downstairs, and Dante said, "Do you need your guitars?" I was like, "No," because I could have showed you, you know, the latest guitars that we did, which are essentially the answer to that question. Like my main player is a 6-string. It's got a nice wider flame on the top, because, you know, instead of the little ones, which I love as well, but I wanted just a simpler guitar that really I could take to any musical situation. Because some of the guitars I have, you know, we've gotten nice and crazy with them. You're not going to take it to like a jazz open mic, you know, or blues open mic. You know, it's got a certain vibe to it. I wanted a guitar that I could take anywhere and use for really any genre that I felt like playing that day. So we did a pair of humbuckers with a 3-way switch with a coil tap, and honestly, I leave it tapped all the time. I mean, not all the time, but most of the time I do. I just like the sound, and it's got the 5815 LTs in it, the low turns, which are in the 594s, and those lower output pickups. For me, it fits right with what I like because you get more clarity, more articulation, and I like that a lot. I think better tone as well. You're not getting so much of the pickup in there. You're getting the wood. You're getting just a better balance of everything, in my opinion. We did what was Coca-Cola neck and board, which was a first for me. And again, a maple top, but an ash body. I love ash. I just find that combination, which seems on paper like it might be really bright, and that's it. It's 22 frets, standard PRS trem. It's just a really nice, simple guitar. It sounds fantastic. I mean, I think everybody, I talk about this on Guitopia, I mean, everybody has what I call pickup licks. You know, things that as soon as you touch a guitar that day, your hands do something. And that's cool. I encourage, to evolve that eventually. And the more you learn and you like a new lick, that's going to become one of those things. But I don't have something that's like, this is a test for a new guitar. I just start playing, and I'm always... I'm mostly a hybrid picker, so I like, jumping around a little bit, and mixed in with other technique as well, but just then I start going through like my mental checklist of how does this feel, how does it sound, how's the tonal balance, is the frequencies jumping out on any one range, how does it bend. And that was the thing about this guitar with the 7 1/4 radius, I believe, but it bends great. I go through and I'll just, because I know what I like in a guitar, so it's not about a lick, it's about what comes out of the guitar. So, I think like some, like Hendrix's Strat, whatever. There's a few floating around that whoever owns. Maybe some of Jimmy Page's Les Pauls, stuff like that. I think it would be fun to just sit down and play, just because of the stuff that was done on the guitar, We used to do a part of it, and we would do that. It wasn't so like, we weren't role playing. I wasn't being, Ralph. But we did part of that, and we always talked about tour after tour, actually, just doing the whole thing. But it never materialized for some reason. But we did part of it when there was a harp player in the band. So some of the, no, actually, now that I'm remembering correctly, we didn't do it with her. We were going to, it just didn't work out. And it kind of comes down to that. It kind of comes down to, okay, we need to get the set together in this amount of time. And if we can throw in something extra and cool like that, we'll do it. But it always seems like there's just not enough time. So that's okay. Maybe someday. I would love to.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. This is Dave Weiner. Check out PRS and everything they're doing at AmericanMusical.com.